Stamp with Amy K YouTube Live. I'm going to show you today a fun little card that I made with the Sweet Citrus Stamp Set bundle. Well, I guess it's no longer bundled, so it's the Sweet Citrus Stamp Set and the Sweet Citrus Hybrid Embossing Folder is what Stampin' Up! Calls it. So they are in the annual catalog. This one has been around for a minute, but it's still a good little bundle, and so I thought I would play with it again today. And sorry, I'm wiggling the screen all around here trying to get things straightened out because I'm all sorts of crazy looking. Again, one of these days I'll get it figured out, but the problem is I move stuff between videos and then I get it all mixed up again. So, hey, Karen and Carol and Dawn, thanks so much for joining today. I appreciate you all being here. It's going all right. So I had a good weekend, spent some time with my family, which is kind of nice. And I'm back in New Jersey again. After almost not making it, we kind of like slid in between the thunderstorms that came through yesterday. So thank goodness we made it back home again. So hi, Pam and Mary Ruth and Joy. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate you all being here. And I see Laura is here as well. So, all right, let's get going on the card. So this is what we're going to be making today. And used a little bit of Designer Series paper. That's on sale, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then a bunch of just stamp and die cut images, and that's it. It's a pretty quick and easy little card. Sweet Citrus Stamp Set. Here it is. If you haven't seen it, it's a cute one. Love the fonts and the sentiment. Love the citrus images. And I love that you can kind of make these sort of in a mix and match colors, whatever you want. Like I made, I don't know, this kind of looks like grapefruit to me. But you can make it in greens. You can make it in all yellows. You can do it in all pinks. You can do it in oranges or whatever color it is that you want for the citrus. So that's the one nice little thing. So, hey, Pat. And the storms were kind of bad here yesterday. Yes, it was a little intense. A lot of rain, a lot of lightning and thundering. The power went out for a little bit here yesterday in the evening, so it's a little crazy. So I'm glad today that we're getting a little more rain, but definitely much better. All right, so this is the Sweet Citrus Hybrid Embossing Folder, which is actually an embossing folder and a set of dies. They come together when you purchase the Hybrid Embossing Folder. And the cool thing about this, and again, I'll show you how this all works as we're going through the video, is that you can just use the embossing folder as it is, or you can actually stamp the images and then cut and emboss them at the same time. So it's a pretty cool little die set. If you haven't seen it in action, you will here in a few minutes. Hey, Jean Marie, glad that you are here, and Marilyn and Connie as well. Thanks for joining today. All right, let me set that aside, get this out of the way. And one other thing that I did use on this is I used the Stylish Shapes dies, and I used the larger banner die, and this is obviously shorter than this banner die is, but I'll show you how I did that as well. It's a real easy little thing that you can do to shorten up or make the images smaller with the die cuts. And again, super easy, and I'll show you how I did that in just a second. So before we get going, online exclusives, Stampin' Up! Has some new ones that will be coming on July 6th, almost said the 3rd, that's the wrong day, July 6th. So there are some awesome new, looks like some new Christmassy, well, I know some of it's Christmas, but I think there are a few more Christmas things that are coming. Starting on July 6th, you can find these only in the online store. When you go out to the online store and you want to search to find it, just go to stampinup.com, and then there's a little menu that's over on the left-hand side. And if you click on View All Products, one of the little clickable options underneath there will say Online Exclusives. So if you click on that, it'll go right to the online exclusives. Or you can always go to my blog post, which is stampwithamyk.com, and I think I've got it listed in there kind of like all the time. I don't know that I miss any of the days on it, so just go over to the blog post, find the online exclusive section, and go take a peek at what's available now. Online exclusives work a little differently. They're not associated with any catalog, so they just will kind of come and go as the product is in stock. Some things will be restocked, some won't, so if you see something that you want, go grab it. All right, let me know if you have questions on that. The Stampin' Up! Starter Kit Plus promotion is ending in just a couple days on Friday. I think it's the 30th of June. That'll be going away. It's an awesome, awesome deal. If you are not currently a demonstrator, you should join because It's a really good deal. So you pay $99 plus tax if that applies in your area. Your kit will ship for free, and you get to pick $155 worth of your favorite Stampin' Up! Products, and it can be anything available from Stampin' Up! In the catalog, in the online store, the upcoming online exclusives. Hint, hint, if you love those, you can actually add them to your starter kit, so yay, and get them a little bit early. So it's a great deal. Let me know if you have questions. Again, the details for this are posted on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. You can find all the details out there. And let me know if you have questions. I'd be happy to talk with you more about it. And then final thing, Designer Series paper sale. And actually the designer paper that we're using on this card today is one of the items on sale. There are 13 paper packs in the annual catalog, and one of the online exclusives, which is the Hello Irresistible. So those are all 15% off for the month of June. If you head out again to my blog or to the online store, you will find them out there. Let me know if you have questions on that. And again, that just runs through Friday, the 30th of June. So, all right, so let's get going on the card. This is some of the delightfully eclectic Designer Series paper. It's a huge pack, 48 sheets of 12 by 12 paper that you get in this pack. And this is one of the cute little designs in it. I love the little stripes. I love the little lemons. And then the opposite side, I love equally as much. I used this on my card that I posted yesterday. It's got pretty little flowers, little daisies on it. So love that paper. This piece of paper is cut to about 1 3/4 by about 5 1/2. And if I have cut it correctly, it will fit over the left side of my petal pink card base. So again, just going to use a little Stampin' Seal here, and I will try to keep the adhesive on the paper as best I can. Yeah, I don't know, sometimes adhesives and I don't always see eye to eye. So, all right, so I'm going to take this. Hopefully I'm still on the screen here. And I'm going to line it up down here in the lower left corner. Try to get it lined up straight with the edge of the card base. There we go. All right. Super easy. See, didn't even have to use hook glue and glue myself to the card. So, all right. So I did some die cutting ahead of time because this is all going to be kind of duplicates over and over again, and you don't need to watch me stamp and die cut 500 things that are all exactly the same. So I'll show you how I did each individual die cut though. All right, I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and I don't know, this measures about 4 by 4, I guess, maybe a little over. It's kind of just a piece that I had left over, and I have got crushed curry ink. Hey, Denise, I almost called you Earl. Thanks for hopping in. So, and I see Karen Finkel is here as well. So thanks for joining. So again, crushed curry ink is what I am inking this with. And looks like I need to do the one lemon up in the corner a little bit more. All right. And we're going to stamp this on the basic white cardstock panel. All right. There we go. Looks like we got a reasonable image. It's not a great one. There's a little bit of a, I don't know, a little lighter on the bottom, but it's fruit, so we can get away with that. All right, and then we've got petal pink, and that is what I'm using for the inside of the fruit pieces. So again, just going to ink that up well with petal pink ink. And again, these are all from the Sweet Citrus stamp set. This one is not terribly difficult to line up, and it's okay if it doesn't get stamped perfect on there. Just line up the 3 fruit pieces sort of in the center of where you've got the little fruit, is it rinds or edges or whatever you want to call them, the little surrounds of the fruit. So just go ahead and line those up as best you can. And like I said, it's okay if they don't line up perfectly. Because you're going to be embossing and die cutting and putting lots of layers on, so nobody is going to notice the difference anyway. So it's all good. All right, I'm going to grab that hybrid embossing folder and the set of dies. So this works. It's pretty easy to use. You will see that there's a little set here. So it's got this lemon, the half slice, the larger slice, and then the kind of half lemon. I don't know what you want to call it. And it fits inside the embossing folder. There are little ridges in here. And it doesn't fit like snap into place fit, but you'll know when it's in the right spot because you can't really move it around too much. So once you get it all lined up inside there, then you're going to take your piece of paper that you've stamped and you're going to slide it into position right underneath the embossed areas and the die cuts. So again, it's you're never going to get everything to line up perfectly. So I just put it in there and just generally run it through because nobody can tell the difference anyway. So I'm going to then squeeze the folder closed, and I'm going to go run this through my die cutting machine, and I'll show you the sandwich to do that really quickly. So hang on. All right, so when you're using the 3D embossing folders, as well as the hybrid embossing folders, which are a 3D folder that also has the die in it, what you're going to use to die cut these is your base plate. So again, this is, it doesn't matter which machine you use, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or any other one. You've got your base plate. You're going to put your die and your embossing folder with the paper inside it directly on top of your base plate. And then there is the number 4 plate, which is the specialty plate. And this does come with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but it's also available separately. So if you have a different machine, you can also just purchase this plate and it will work perfectly with your 3D embossing folders. So yeah, so just know that. All right, so I'm gonna go run this through the die cutting machine, which is off to my left here. So I'll be off screen for 1 second. All right, and then when you get done, you're just going to open it up, and you have got your little die that I'm going to put back here. And then you've got your paper you can toss aside, and then you've got the little embossed stamped images. So I'm going to hold them up for a second, try to catch the light. Hopefully I can catch it enough that you'll be able to see that they are actually embossed. And it's a really cool effect. And, you know, I don't know, I love the fruit images. I think they're really cool. So, all right, let me get the embossing folder out of the way, and I'm going to switch up my plates in my die cutting machine. All right. Next up, we are going to do a little more stamping. I'm going to stamp. I've got garden green ink and the little, hey Laura, thanks for hopping in. And you got the online, get the horse and sleigh bundle. It's definitely a good one. So garden green ink and the little leaves from the Sweet Citrus stamp set. And we are going to stamp those on a piece of basic white cardstock. And then next up, oh, I'm going to close that before I hopefully don't stick my fingers in there. And then I've got the little set of 3 flowers. And again, these are all from the Sweet Citrus stamp set and Coastal Cabana ink. Well, there you have it. The first drop of the day. Alrighty then. At least it didn't land directly on top of anything that I had previously stamped. So there we go. Coastal Cabana ink. We're stamping the little flowers, and then there are the flower centers that are also in this stamp set. So I'm going to do the little single flower center, and then there are 2 flower centers that are together, and I'm going to stamp those, hopefully somewhat centered. Yep, over the top of the other 2. And then I will close, actually I'm going to leave that open because I'm also going to stamp the sentiment, which is the sending you a big squeeze. And again, we're going to stamp that in Coastal Cabana ink. And I'm just going to, I guess we better ink the whole thing though, that might be good. Just going to stamp it kind of here in the center of the paper. All right, then I'm going to grab some dot. Well, actually, I keep changing my mind on what I'm doing. So, hey, Mary, glad you're able to hop in for summer vacation. So, I have got a dark pool party. And actually, I realized I used light. La, la, la. It was a couple days ago when I made this card, so I apologize. A light pool party Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm just going to color in the center of the flowers. And these are ones that you can color really messy because they're kind of hand-drawn look, and nobody can tell if you stayed in the lines or not because some of the areas of the flowers don't even have lines on them. So there we go. All right, so that was light and not the dark pool party that I used. Now I'm going to grab some of the dies. The nice thing about this die set is it does have some duplicates. So when you're stamping like I did, I stamped I think 5 of the little leaves and 2 sets of the flowers. It's nice to have some duplicate duplicate dies so that you don't have to sit and crank everything through individually. So when you're doing multiples of something, you can just do everything at once. So I'm going to run these through the die cutting machine first, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I cut the sentiment. So hang on 1 second. I've got those two dies I'm going to put back. And then my die cuts here. Now for my sentiment, as I said, the die that I used is actually quite a bit bigger than what I actually ended up with on the card front. So when I initially cut this image, I just sort of slid it over so that the little, I don't know, banner end was fairly close on one side, and there's quite a bit of extra space over on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and run it through the die cutting machine just like this, all sorts of crazy looking, and then I'll come back and I will show you how to cut the rest of it. So, all right, hang on one second. Okay, so this is what I ended up with. Again, I slid it over intentionally and cut it all sorts of crazy. Then I'm going to take this very same die and I'm going to slide it over so that it's, I don't know, about equal on this side. And then because it's got the little notches in it, I'm just going to move it around until it kind of locks into place and doesn't want to wiggle around. And then I will know that my little dots are lined up here. And I'm just going to run this back through the die cutting machine again, and it's going to chop off this little section of the die cut to make it a little bit shorter. So hang on one second and I will be right back. All right, so by doing that, it basically just chops off the end of the die cut so that you can make it be whatever size you need it to be for your card front or for your sentiment. So if you like the longer look, you can definitely leave it as it is, but I wanted it to be a little bit shorter so that it didn't cover up all of the pretty citrus pieces on the card front. All right, let me scoot these stamps out of the way so hopefully I don't stick anything where it shouldn't be. All right, got some little mini glue dots, and I'm just going to start sticking random pieces of the fruit onto the card front. All right, I'm just going to kind of put it into little piles here where I've hopefully, where did all my flower die cuts go? Hopefully I didn't just totally misplace everything or bury it somewhere. It seems as though I'm missing a flower. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. I think they're all here. Well, if we are missing one, we'll restamp it. Oh, there it is. They were stuck to the back. All right. I knew there should be 6 flowers. All right. What I basically did was cut 2 of the fruits, 2 of the flowers, and then 5 of the leaves in total. All right. So let's start sticking some of this together into the card front. So I'm going to start by sticking a little leaf over here. And I think we'll kind of go about there with it. And then one of the larger half slices of the lemon or the grapefruit or the whatever fruit it is you decide you want to call it. So, all right, then we're going to slide that. What I'm trying to do is basically cover up the seam between the 2 papers. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfectly covered, but that was kind of my goal with the way that I was arranging these, as I was trying to cover the seam. And then I'm going to take one of the flowers, stick it up underneath there. And then I'm going to grab one of the half slices. And we will tuck that underneath this slice over here. And there's there we go. Just going to take that, stick it under there. And then I think we will take one of the whole lemons. And I will probably actually put the leaves on here already so that I've got those stuck down, hopefully in the spot where I want them to be. And here's my little lemon. And I will take the lemon and stick it right over the top of those. And then I'm going to tuck one of the half slices over the top of that lemon. And again, these little collage things kind of end up looking a little bit different every time you do them because, at least I have not been able to successfully exactly duplicate a card that I've made before when I'm putting it together like this, because I don't know, I end up putting pieces in places where I didn't necessarily put them the first time. So, all right, so I've got one of the larger slices, and we're going to take that and put it over here. Then I'm going to take, I think we'll grab, actually I'll grab the whole lemon. We'll take that and we will tuck it, I think, right under here. And this piece I'm going to leave a little bit empty because that's where my sentiment's going to go. And then I'm going to grab one of the greenery pieces, one of the leaves, and we will tuck that underneath. And if you do what I did and don't give it enough space, you can always take your paper snips and trim down, and nobody can see it because you're going to tuck it underneath another piece. So if you need it to be a little more hidden, like I wanted that one a little bit shorter, just trim it down with your paper snips and stuff it right underneath the other one. And then I'm going to grab one of the other little lemon slices, and we'll just slide that right over the top of this one. And then we've got the remaining half slice here. We're going to take and turn that. I think I'm going to peel this one back up and go up a little bit higher with it. And then we'll take this one and slide it down here underneath. What I want to do is make sure that I stay on the card base and not have it hanging off the bottom, because then it won't fit very nicely in the envelope. And then I'm going to grab the final set of leaves here and tuck those underneath that one. And a few more flowers while I am adhering things here. So grab some of the smaller ones, and I will tuck one of those under there. Put one of them down here near the bottom of the card, like that. And then I'll wait on the final larger one until, actually I got one more little one I can stick on in here. I'm gonna go ahead and stick that one right up in here. Then I'm going to grab my sentiment, and I'll wait to put the larger one on until I put the sentiment in, because then I can tuck it in around that. I'm going to grab some of my little chopped up Stampin' dimensionals here, and I'm going to stick one of those on the right hand side of it, and then I'm going to grab a Stampin' dimensional for the left hand side. Actually, I may put two of them on there, just because there's kind of a stack of paper here already, and I'm trying to keep it somewhat even, so that the sentiment isn't all kind of weird and lumpy looking. And then I'm just going to slide my sentiment right over the top, and then put on my last little flower here, last big flower I should say, and we'll just kind of tuck that in here right around the sentiment. And let me get rid of this big long string. Goodness, what a mess. And then the last thing I did on the card front was just added a couple of the iridescent pearl basic jewels, and these are so pretty. They're some of my new favorites, and I've been using them on everything. So I've got my little take your pick tool here, and I'm going to try to, as neatly as possible, get these stuck to the card front, and hopefully not to me or someplace where they shouldn't be. So I used two of the larger ones, and here's one of the smaller ones. Oop, there we go, stick that down. Another little smaller one. I think we'll tuck that one down in here. And then one more final small one. I think I'm going to put that one up here this time. There we go. All right. So that's it for the card front. Super easy, super quick. Like I said, just a little die cutting, a little bit of layering, a little stamping, and it's all done. So, all right, let me show you how I did the inside of the card. Got basic white cardstock here. And this is cut to about 4 inches by about 5 1/4. And if I've cut it correctly, it should fit inside the card base quite nicely. And then I've got the happy birthday sentiment. It's the one that says have a zesty birthday. And I've got Coastal Cabana ink, and I'm just going to ink the sentiment up and stamp it here on the panel of basic white cardstock. Try to get it somewhat centered and straight, but that's no requirement. So, and then I'm going to grab my crushed curry ink. And we are going to ink up the little, I don't know, the rind, the outside, whatever you want to call it, of the lemon. Well, the grapefruits, I guess is what I'm calling them officially for this card. And I'm going to flip this over and then try to decide which pieces I want to have showing. I think I'm going to do the two larger ones like this. So I'm going to stamp it over the corner of the card. There we go. And then I'm going to grab the fill-in pieces again in Petal Pink ink. and ink those. And then I'm going to obviously have to flip this around and make sure that I get this somewhat in the right spot here. And then stamp it. There we go. And I'm not going to emboss and cut this time around on this piece. Just stamping them as they are. And then I'm going to grab my one little remaining die cut flower that was left over from the card front. And we're going to grab a little glue dot and stick it right here in the center of the two little pieces. Then we got our group of 3 down here in the corner. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to put a little Stampin' Seal on the back. And we're going to adhere this inside the card base. And the card's going to be all done for today. So. And I almost grabbed the cap for the take your pick tool instead of the cap for the adhesive. That wouldn't have fit very well. And we're just going to stick those together on the inside. There we go. And swing it closed and do a quick crease with the bone folder. Try not to smash my little embossed pieces of fruit. There we go. And that's it for the card. So super quick and easy. Again, this is one of my very favorite very favorite stamp sets from the annual catalog. I love it, and I have to stop myself from using it like all the time. So I appreciate you all being here. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will plan to be back around 2 o'clock Eastern time on Friday. And then next week, Tuesday, I realize it's the 4th of July, so that's probably not going to work out very well. So I'm thinking that I'm going to go live probably on Monday, probably at 2 o'clock, but keep an eye on my blog and I'll post in my Facebook page, and I'll post the details out there for when I'll be live next week, early in the week. Like I said, I think it'll be Monday and I think it'll be 2 o'clock, but need to make sure everything works on the schedule for that. So, all right. So again, thanks for joining. All the details for this card project will be posted on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And I will come back tomorrow once the blog post goes live, and I will share a link over to the blog post, and that will have all the details. We'll have a PDF tutorial. We'll have measurements. We'll have colors, links to all the products that I use to create it. So you can definitely go take a peek at it then. So thanks again for joining. I will plan to see you all on Friday around 2 o'clock for another project. And that's Eastern time, by the way. And have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll talk to you all soon.